Welcome to the Wealth Matters podcast, where investors come together to better understand how to build passive cash flow and create generational wealth without all the confusing mumbo-jumbo. Here's your host and co-author of Amazon #1 bestseller, Alpesh Pamar.
Welcome to Wealth Matters podcast. I am going to talk to Eric Majors today. Eric is an expert in international financial market analysis and algorithms, and he has a Bachelors of Science in electrical engineering. Eric was a US registered investment advisor as well as a business owner who worked with the CIA. Okay, I'm going to talk about CIA now today. But so he's got a lot of degrees. He's worked all over the world. That was pretty interesting to me when I spoke with Eric. I remember he had mentioned South Africa was one of the countries where he spent a lot of time. And we want to talk about as all of you guys are aware, I love cryptos. I have a lot of my personal portfolio in cryptos, as well as we have Bitcoin mining companies. We just launched our Bitcoin mining fund 4. We have also launched a data center fund. So whenever someone talks about cryptos and they have some new ideas, I am always all ears about it. I want to know what they're thinking, why they are thinking this way. So I'm very excited to talk about a new coin. It's called RXSID coin, which Eric and his brother have launched. And I want to talk all about it. So welcome, Eric.
Hey, good to see you. Great to be with you. Appreciate the introduction. Just looking forward to sharing what we're doing, man.
Absolutely. And I know I didn't do justice to your bio, so we are going to throw you a curveball. Tell us something interesting or funny about yourself.
Well, something funny about myself. The first thing that comes to my mind is dad jokes. You know, I'm a dad, you know, and so the kids are always give me a hard time about the jokes. You know, when you're a dad, you have to come up with things immediately. And so that may be one of the funny things I think is funny anyway. They always think I'm laughing at my own jokes.
Yeah. So when you mentioned that, I started thinking about myself, because that's exactly what happens with me and with my two daughters. All the time I make a joke and they're like, it's a bad joke. And I'm like, no. It's good. I laughed.
Yeah, that's what she says. Well, at least you make yourself laugh.
Yeah, that's what matters in the end. So tell us your story. Where did you start and why are you here in crypto now? Tell us what happened.
Well, boy, I got a long story. I'm going to try to just make it short as possible.
Yeah. Let's condense it.
When I was in university studying electrical and computer engineering, you know, back in the old days in the 1980s, I worked for a Dean Witter broker firm for a while as an intern. And I just saw the price fluctuations going on the computers in those days. And I thought to myself, wow, you know, somebody seems like there's some money to be made in here. I was watching all the options as they're dying off. And I said, look at this price action. You know, what if I could program my computer and use my engineering degree to analyze these things and find areas to trade in there, you know? And I was hooked.
Wow. Okay.
From that time on, I just thought, wow, I can't think of anything more exciting that I would rather do than to apply computer programming knowledge to analyzing the markets and making money with it. You know, I just thought, what could be more exciting? And so I spent many long nights in those days on the phone with Charles Schwab. I opened up an account, and in those days, the brokers would talk to you 24 hours a day. So I would talk to them all the time, ask them questions, you know, read books.
Really? Wow. Yeah.
Then I started, after a while, I started really getting advanced and started trading futures and options on futures and things like that. And I was able to, in those days, even find some patterns. And around the mid 1995s, I actually started writing a little course of my own because some friends of mine that were engineers were also interested in this. And it's kind of funny because the computational power back then wasn't what it is today.
Yeah. There was nothing. Now you have bots, making all those $1 million of transactions in nanoseconds, right?
Yeah. And so a lot of the analysis that I would propose at the time, people would laugh at, literally. And I said, well, look, we got to wake up in the morning, have the computer find all the stocks that are on the move and automatically place the trades. You know, of course, that child's play now. I mean, now everybody does it. Back then, it was like, how are you going to analyze thousands of stocks with a PC?
Right.
I'm like, well, I mean, somebody's got to do it,
Wow,
So,
you needed to build a software at that time. And we could have sold it like Think or Swim by TD Ameritrade.
well, it's funny that you mention that because ultimately later on, when Forex became a thing, you had, I don't want to say TradeStation. I used that for
Yes, yeah, trade station. Yeah.
right. But then we have MetaTrader and things like that. So when
Yeah.
Forex came along, it was really great to me because the MetaTrader language was C and C++. And so anyway,
Yeah.
bottom line is I really dug into that. I wrote a lot of algorithms that I actually sold and rented and leased to different fund managers and made a lot of money in that business. And if anybody knows anything about technical market analysis and using computers to trade in those days, especially, you can find things that work for a while, but you can't find things that are going to just work under all market conditions. So
Nope.
the art of that whole business is to find things and then to turn them off when they're not working, to know when to
Right.
stop trading them.
Otherwise, JP Diamond wouldn't have lost so much money in derivatives trading, right? If they have all the computational power, they have all the fund managers working for it. You cannot have a program which will work for them
Yeah,
in
yeah.
every condition.
What was funny was that ultimately I wanted to become a fund manager myself, and I went, and started to look at that, and I didn't understand anything about the securities laws and this sort of thing.
Ah,
Right, little things you needed to deal with, and I ended up getting a job for a small hedge fund in the BVI outside the United States, and I learned a lot from that. And one of the things I learned was I wanted to really have really good administrative software to handle all the clients and the business end that came in. So I actually started a business to develop that software, and we had a lot of good clients that most of our clients were funds that were damaged, very complex funds, and they needed to do a reaccounting of their things and so forth. But that was exciting times. But no matter how, ultimately I had to become a registered investment advisor because of the laws and regulations. I didn't know that I was running afoul of them, and they were kind of lenient on me. I put out some opportunities for people to invest, and the state said, hey, you got to be registered. And I said, what are you talking about?
yeah,
they're kind of nice about it. They say, yeah, we can
right.
get in trouble for this.
They are not nice about it now.
No. So I went and I got my registration, and I was in the right place at the right time. It was right during the dot-com boom in the early
Oh,
2000s.
wow. Yes.
And all of a sudden, before I knew it, I was advising publicly traded companies and looking at their technology. And I had a board of advisors from different universities that would do these technology reviews on their businesses to determine whether or not it was worth it for people to invest in their company. And when I got that exposure, I thought to myself, wow, I don't have to be Nostradamus anymore. I don't have to sit here and use the computer to predict the markets. I could just become an investment banker and own the casino myself and have just get the shares, And so I did that. So that's kind of the background I came from. I kept some of those public companies, did some things with them, sold a lot of them, traded them, listed a few big ones. One of my favorite ones is Elliott Corporation. They make a neck brace for helmeted motorsports. You can see them on the motocross racers and all that. So that was a company that I listed on the stock exchange. They're from South Africa. I met
Oh,
them.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, when I was living in South Africa, I went back into the investment banking business, and because there's some good businesses, in South Africa.
So now, after you did all that, how did you land in crypto world?
Well, to be perfectly honest, we got, the markets are very heavily regulated. I ran into some trouble with one of my publicly traded companies and the filings of it. Had to get out of that company. One of my biggest companies that I actually ran, we ran into trouble. We ended up getting delisted, because of the way
Oh,
the
wow.
where it was a big mess. It was a really big mess. So I ended up losing some of my licenses as a result of that. And it was quite a debacle. And so I went back to just designing Forex systems and selling those to fund managers and doing that sort of thing. Made some pretty good money in that. But when cryptocurrency started coming along, I saw, I just been paying attention to it. I actually wrote a book about it a long time ago. When I was in South Africa, it was just weird. I just had this vision that there was
Oh,
something,
wow. That's interesting.
there was something coming, and it was weird because I just had these premonitions, and I get
Yep.
these quite often. And it was around cryptocurrency. I thought, wow, why don't people just make some kind of software currencies to bail out some of these countries that I did business with in South Africa?
Right.
And here you got all of a sudden Bitcoin comes out, So I paid close attention to that. I didn't unfortunately become Bitcoin rich. I dealt with it a
Right.
little bit, but I didn't have enough in my wallet when it when it went
None
to the
of us
moon.
did. Yeah, I wish.
But I will say that I did make some money with it in the early stages. I just never had enough in any one wallet at a time to have benefited from the huge spike. But when I was making money trading Bitcoin, it was literally on the streets, selling it to people through local Bitcoin, going to banks, depositing money. It was crazy, but we made some
Oh,
money doing it.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it became too logistically difficult. We were making money, but just not enough to justify all the things that had to be done back then. That was 2014, 2015 timeframe. And
Okay.
we've come a long way since then.
Right.
So I wrote some books called Dot Money because of my experience with international financial markets. I did some work with the CIA for a while, and I owned an international investment advising firm, and I owned a registered investment advising firm doing business in all these countries. I had offices in China and the United States and South Africa and in Europe and South America. And so when you're in that kind of position, you find out a lot of things. You get to experience a lot of things, and so ultimately, um, I wrote this book about monetary policy and how I felt it was going to change because of things like Bitcoin. And the name of that book is called Dot Money,
Okay.
and you can buy that on Amazon. I got other books like that. And I actually was going to. I didn't think about launching a cryptocurrency. This was in 2015. Some other people thought of it after they read the book, and they started a project around doing it. It's called the Global Currency Reserve, but it was just a small group of people, and they didn't really push it forward. But the websites are still there. It's pretty interesting.
Hmm.
Uh, but as a result of my interest in that and seeing what was coming up in monetary policy around the world, I got hired to help build out some cryptocurrency exchanges, some private ones for B2B things, a company called Amber, and they're
Oh,
on,
okay.
yeah, AMMBR dot finance. And now I got invited to do that, which was really great. And now they're actually one of our business partners in our Exceed coin.
So
Go ahead.
that's great. It's perfect timing. What is RX seed coin?
Okay. Yeah. Well, RX Seed Coin really was started by a fellow named David Miller, and he ran it and then met my brother. David Miller had started a coin years ago, and the vision for his coin in those days was around a multi-level marketing business that he had around coffee. And he has a
Ah,
business.
okay.
Yeah, he has a business called RX Smart Coffee, and you can go online and see it's really great. That's his life's work, what he does for a living, and they sell a ton of coffee. And what it is coffee beans infused with with vitamins and minerals and things like this. So, and it tastes great.
Interesting.
I've had it, and they have some really good novelty ones in there too
Mm.
for men, and this sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, he started a cryptocurrency for that purpose. It didn't really work out, but then he had a vision to say, hey, we need a cryptocurrency to help with the world. He met my brother. My brother owns a really big construction company, and he's made a lot of money in construction. It's
In
called
Nashville, right?
in Nashville, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so he has a heart. He's constantly well known in his community for helping and wanting to give, and especially when storms happen and things like that. And he's just done a lot of charity work. So when those two guys teamed up, the idea was it's not a charity coin. I want to make that clear. But what they decided to do was Jeff had been studying cryptocurrency in a different businesses that can be facilitated through it. And so they got together and said, hey, why don't we join forces? By this time, David had already created the coin on the Stellar blockchain. And then my brother, asked me to get involved because, I know all about this stuff. And so we really all sat down and said, I said, well, what is this going to look like? I mean, it's not, I don't necessarily want to just do a pure charity coin. And I don't see any, and they agreed. They already knew there was going to be a business behind it. But they wanted to use the coin to promote helping people. And so I got the guys from Amber to join into the project. And Amber is basically a huge blockchain engineering resource. They're based out of Dubai and UAE and Abu Dhabi. And that's their base, but they have engineers all around. If anyone, it's very hard to find engineering resources in the blockchain community right now because
Yes, that's
they're all
very hard.
Bitcoin, you know.
I know. I'm trying to.
So we have, they're all Bitcoin rich. They're all busy doing their own thing,
Yeah.
and not a lot of which even I don't even understand. But whatever, God bless them. So we have these rare engineering assets, and they are already developing. They have been developing business since I worked with them on that exchange years ago, and they've come a long way. So they have their own NFT exchange capability. They're out there doing a lot of really cool NFTs. If you go to ammbr.finance, you'll see some of their NFTs they're coming out in the news. They did an Indian movie company. They just did
Oh, wow.
they did NFT around a gold mine in Madagascar, where they're working with the government over there. So really exciting things. And so they have this
So,
background. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry to interrupt. So I want to make sure now we talk about this RX seed coin. So where
Right.
does RX seed coin fit into this picture, and what does it do actually? What's
Okay.
the purpose behind the coin?
Okay. So RX Seed Coin is a business. It's a blockchain development business. And the concept is that we're going to take 30% of the resources that the business has and use it in compassionate ways. In other words, use it for philanthropic purposes. That includes building out sustainable businesses in affected areas. I mean, it could be an area affected by a storm. It could be another country that they don't have infrastructure and there's need for things. So the vision is, however we're making money in blockchain, we're going to use that to advance to help try to solve basic problems of hunger, homelessness, even clean energy, because pollution is a problem. all
Yes.
all the big ticket things that people have on their mind. Okay, and also disaster relief. Okay, so and why originally it was around primarily disaster relief and other things, because Jeff, I also am in the construction business. I own a big roofing business and a construction business. And so whenever these big storms come in, we descend into these areas and we bring aid already to people because we're just there on site to do repairs and everything. So I thought, why don't we formalize all these efforts, combine them into one thing? And Amber is involved in a lot of blockchain development around uplifting people. So we put all this stuff together and we said, all right, what do we have as products? What can we offer? And we have a lot, in short. In a nutshell, we then, because Jeff was out, he and I go to these construction industry meetings a lot around storms and things like this. We ran into the president of Solar Integrated Roofing, and through relationships that David, the founder, has in a Caribbean country, I don't want to say where yet, but we are looking at becoming an energy provider in a country that's actually asked us to come in and create a currency for them. And that's a relationship based thing, but now we have a formal invitation from the government, and it's a work in progress. And so we asked the solar company, hey, would you guys be interested in we got to put this solar deployment out there. Would you guys do the work for us? And not only did they say we'd do the work, they say, hey, we'll do the financing of it. I mean, we love the idea, so
Oh, okay.
that's
Wow,
about
that's good.
that's about a $12 million project to get it up and running, and they're engaged right now. So I don't want to say the specifics until we actually
Right.
sign the final agreement, but it's all in play right now, and we
So,
expect that to happen.
so I understand the idea behind RX seed coin is 30% of it would go to philanthropic efforts, right? How how do you make money?
Yeah.
How does RX seed coin, and how does investor make money?
Well, because we're a blockchain development company, there's a few different areas that we're already involved in. And again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves and put news out and then I'm chasing my own news, in other words. So let me put it to you like this. Because of my background, we're looking at turning up some blockchain business in the banking sector. Okay, the opportunities that we have, we're looking to capitalize on that. But probably the single most exciting thing, before I mention some of these other potential businesses, is the fact that the Solar Integrated Roofing Company is a big publicly traded company. They got over $250 million worth of ongoing projects right now. I mean, that means installations. They have come in literally as a partner and founding member now, and they're financing a lot of what we're doing. And what their goal is, the reason that they did this is because they want to incorporate blockchain technology into all of their clean energy deployments. So here's the biggest opportunity that's right on the table that I can share with you right now, because it's a real thing and we're under contract to do it. And I think this is probably one of the most exciting things that's coming to the entire blockchain community that I've personally seen. I'm pretty familiar with it. And what it looks like is this. Right now they're a growing clean energy company. They have $250 million worth of projects that they're just creating. In other words, they're just delivering right now. Okay. And their portfolio project just grows and grows and grows. So this includes solar, it includes other solutions around clean energy. And so what we're looking at doing here is very simply this. We are going to put together an NFT exchange that will make it possible for ordinary people, that we're going to register these investment opportunities with the Securities Exchange Commission in the United States. We're in the process of doing that right now. This is the plan that I'm sharing with you.
Okay.
And we're down the road with this. We're getting very close to getting this stuff submitted to the Securities Exchange Commission. But we're going to offer to the ordinary people the opportunity to buy NFTs where their money will go into a pool of money in the solar company that will be used to finance all of the things that the projects that they're doing that would otherwise be financed through private equity. Okay.
Okay.
So now you and me could go to an exchange, and for as little as $50, we could become that private equity lender, so to speak, by buying an NFT. And then that NFT will in perpetuity pay interest from all the clients that are utilizing that money for their deployments.
Okay.
So now it gets very interesting here, because on the initial fund, what we're looking at doing is when we offer these NFTs and you buy them, they can immediately utilize all that money. We're going to start with a $20 million raise and then a $75 million raise on the initial project we're doing. And that will all be funded by NFTs. And that money will just sit there in perpetuity. And as soon as it's paid back by one company, it'll be able to be used for another project. And so the NFT holders will be receiving the interest as though they were a bank or so forth that is collecting on a line of credit, if you will, that's constantly available. So if somebody wants, so if an NFT holder should just start seeing interest being paid out to their NFT and not fixed as variable, because the money being utilized gets traded off in different projects. And then, so they'll get this residual coming in. And then if they want to sell their whole NFT, they could trade it on the NFT exchange that is being hosted by SIRC, the publicly traded company itself. So this is very exciting to me, because we're going to be the first very serious, I would say serious, I'm not going to say we're the first, but we're the first serious, organization that's going to be selling real monetized NFTs and on a level of several tens of millions of dollars. Or the other projects that I see that are meritorious in this area are not dealing on a scale that we're dealing with. This is going to be a very large scale with a lot of money involved and a lot of opportunity for people. So to me, it's a game changer, and we're only a couple months away from putting the NFTs on the site for people to buy and trade amongst themselves if they want to. So, you can either hold the NFT and get the interest, or you could sell it in the exchange itself to somebody else. So to me, that's exciting, because what's next beyond that? You're literally trading energy NFTs. The next step is trading actual kilowatt hours, which is what big energy companies want to get to. And we're going to have the first platform that's really able to do that. So it's very exciting. The other things that we're doing along this line is we're using the blockchain to automate the entire business of the delivery of power. So as an example, in many of these cases, the solar company is acting as the energy company for the client. And so if you have a situation, which happens most of the time, where you have a community of clients, all that telemetry from the delivery of their power to their houses we have some hardware that we're going to utilize that is going to upload that telemetry into the blockchain. Then people will be able to receive their bill automatically through the blockchain. And whether they know it or not, whether they're paying with a credit card or not, in some cases, they're going to be paying with a token, but they'll be buying a token in the middle of there, an RxSeed coin token, probably, if you get my drift.
So that's
that's
where I was going. So how would RxSeed coin be traded? Basically, is it how you're going to get paid from those NFTs, or what's the purpose of RxSeed coin? And where does investors make money?
Yeah, how do investors make money in RxSeed coin? Very good question. You got a lot of coins out there coming out that are really unregistered securities. There are people who have coins and they say, well, we have a business underneath of here, and your coin is based on the value of the business. And then you have people who are playing it straight, and they're saying, no, we have a coin, and the coin is a widget, but it's going to finance this underlying business, and then we will reward the coin holders in some way. So in our business model, we literally make a market in our own coin. So a large percentage of the profit that we make goes back into our market making on the coin. Now, I can tell you that part of our business model is to be an active market maker in our own coin. So a lot of organizations don't really have that formally in their plan. They just have a plan not to sell off and hurt everybody. We're saying, look, if I were going to list this business on the stock exchange, then all of the things that the business owns would be capitalizing the coins. But nobody really does that, because the advantage of having a commodity coin is that you don't have to register everything on the exchange. But if you're not going to do that, you better well have a plan to reward the coin holders. So I'm going to share with you an insider trick here when it comes to listing companies on the stock exchange, which I used to do all the time. And that is that the order book management system, right? I mean, if I go to list a company on the OTC bulletin board and I have all the stock and I have a little bit of money in some accounts, I don't, there's some intermediaries in there. They call them market makers in the investment stock world. But in the crypto world, you can be your own market maker. There is no intermediaries. You have organizations that buy and sell coins and they call themselves market makers, but it's a different animal than on the stock market because I can have a seat right on the exchange with cryptocurrency coins. So I could be my own market maker. So I'm sharing this with you to say that there's a very simple plan here. And it is, we have all the coin. There are no principals that have any coin besides us and the people who buy. If you want to buy coin from us when we're on the market, you're buying it from us. Okay. And we're certainly not going to do anything to mess up our coin price. Okay. And what money we do begin to make from the sales of coin, we're going to decide once we have enough volume in trading, how much we're going to take off the top if we even really need to in order to further the business that we already have going. And what that business would that be? Well, there's the NFT business with SIRC. We can do that same business with all kinds of businesses, not just power companies. Okay. But that can be duplicated across. And the beauty of it is working with publicly traded companies to do it because they're already audited and it makes the process with the Securities and Exchange Commission much easier to register their offerings than it would if we were to work with private companies. So there is a limitless possibility out there of us working with many, many publicly traded companies to help them gain finance through NFTs and registrations on the stock exchange. And our Exceed coin not only features in the middle of all the transactions that may occur when we put our technology in there, but at the most basic level, the coin operates as our giving back to the community, right? So what is that? What do I mean by that? Well, the coin is an opportunity for us if we go in there and make a market in the coin and reward the coin holders and make sure that there is a market for the coin, then in times of disaster and times of need, we can use some of the proceeds from the sales of those coins to go in and do some good. And if people, for example, this is what we're going to start educating people about on a very large scale. And we're already starting to work with some other nonprofits on this. And, we're not a charity coin, if you will. Okay. There's a business backing this, but this coin is a tremendous utility, both for our business deals where people are going into and out of NFTs, for example. We're going to ultimately have a card attached to the coin so that you could spend the coin on your card. The coin, if it's not a utility to people, it's a waste of time.
Right. Exactly.
So we are doing everything that we can, and it doesn't happen overnight, but we're doing everything that we can to make this coin a utility. And the very first thing that we're doing is we're coming out and saying, we're not just dumping the coin out here and trying to get as much money as we can. Yes, we want to see it go up to the moon. Yes, we want to see, we want to be able to take some of the proceeds out to help, us launch more business, obviously. But in our business plan, in our white paper, we're very clear about this. We are a market maker in our own coin. So wherever we're making money on the blockchain, again, we're looking at in a banking sector. I'm not at liberty to talk about that right now, but we have, let's suffice it to say, a very good inner work knowledge of where blockchain and our coin and other people's coins and exchanges, if you will, can really benefit right now by working with banks. And so we have some really exciting things getting ready to happen there. So we have nothing but exciting things happening that we're getting ready to exploit. But the lowest hanging fruit would be the NFTs with the energy company. And to me, that's going to be the biggest hit. It's going to knock it out of the park. So we don't need money from the coin to operate. The coin is a utility for us. We're going to make it a utility for people. We're going to help reward people who are in that coin so that we can use the coin from time to time to help with disaster relief and new development. That's really what it's for us.
So where can I buy the coin, RXseed coin?
Okay, well, you can go to our website, and right now rxseedcoin.io, and there will be links in there. You could literally, this is the pre-sale. We're going to be listing on Bitmart, and we're looking at listing on a couple other exchanges, central exchanges. We're also at the same time, we're listing on Bitmart on January 15th. We're going to be listing on some DEXs at the same time.
So
So
Bitmart, huh? If I remember, they got hacked recently.
yeah, I mean, all
Right,
these exchanges have their problems from time to time.
right.
So
Yeah, so hopefully they get their acts together now.
yeah, we were scheduled to actually come out this month, but when that happened, we said no, let's put on the brakes a second and make sure they got all their security in place. I mean, thank God nobody's individual accounts were hurt by this. They took a beating, the company,
Right.
but they're not immune. They're not, no
Yeah,
company's immune to this. Happens
that's why
to
they got to have, yeah, and hacking will be there, right? Will always be there. They got to make sure their security is always up to date. And then second is they got to have insurance, right? That's, yeah. No, this is awesome. So this was great. Thank you so much for sharing. Are you ready for fire round?
fire around. Oh man, do I need an
Yeah,
extinguisher? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
yeah. You will need an extinguisher soon.
Oh, that was a dad joke, I think. Sorry.
So, favorite real estate or finance or any other related book other than yours or mine?
Man, you're asking for a lot, man. Let's see, a book on related to finance. Well, to be honest with you, there were some books that were put out, and I don't even know if they're still published, but I like books where they literally go through and talk about the technology of trading. And the last time I read those books, I'd have to say the New York Times used to put some out, actual published books, and really great introductions to people into the markets and things like that. My one book on technical market analysis, I wrote that because I got so many questions from people about stock market. I said, you know what, and all the different instruments. I said, here, just take this book and read it. So when it comes to advice, there's a lot of advice giving in that book. I can't really, off the top of my head, say any particular book that is of interest to me right now because the market's changed so much. There's so much going on. It's hard to keep up with them. So I'd be hard pressed to identify specific.
Any advice for beginner investors?
Oh yeah. Do not trade more money than you can afford to lose because it will affect your decision making around trading. If you do have some kind of a system that you're going to use and you invest too much money, you will not adhere to your system. Your psychology will overpower your ability to maintain your system. So also do not trade in over leveraged products if you don't have a lot of money that you can afford to lose, because trading with too much leverage is a great way to lose your money. I mean, experts can make money doing it.
To lose your shirts and pants.
Yeah. When the market is going up, don't sell all your stuff all at once. Keep some behind, just sell little bits on the way up. And when it's going down, if you have to, as part of your strategy, sell little bits on the way down. But if you're over leveraged and it starts going the wrong direction, you're just gonna lose everything.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
All right.
How can my listeners reach out to you?
Well, right now, I mean, through the rxseedcoin.io, website. I have a website. It's ericmajors.com. It's a little dated. I have to redo it, but you can look up my books on Amazon. It tells my whole life story on there. So if you want to hear more, it's all on there. All the good and the bad, it's in there. Yeah, so that's it. Through Amazon, through my website, through rxseedcoin.io. Though I'm really involved in that project, so you can get to me through there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Eric, for your time today. I know we had to reschedule, but I appreciate that we were able to reschedule it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Great speaking with you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Matters podcast. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes so others can enjoy the show too. Have a great week and happy investing!